Good day. I'm Mogwaketsi. I'm going to give an overview of the applications of stable isotopes in human nutrition research at the National Food Technology Research Center, that is NFTRC. National Food Technology Research Center is registered and incorporated in 1999 as a company limited by guarantee. National Food Technology Research Center, NFTRC, is a research and development institution operating under the Botswana Ministry of Agricultural Development and Food Security. NFTRC is governed by a board of directors appointed by the minister. NFTRC is to be merged with the Department of Agric Research and National Vet Laboratory to form a National Agricultural Research and Development Institute, that is NADI. NFTRC's vision is to be an international center of excellence in food science and technology, and its mission is to generate food technologies that enhance economic diversification, food security, and quality through sustained end user-focused research and development. NFTRC exists to support agricultural development and food production through research in food safety, nutrition, product development, post-harvest processes and technologies, end user aspects and application for existing and new agricultural products. It also exists to conduct research to generate scientific data and information that is needed to inform and guide policy formulation and implementation, consumer decision making and choices, and food security and nutrition intervention programs. Our journey with the use of stable isotopes. NFTRC is an IEA designated African Regional Center for Research and Development. NFTRC previously participated on the regional and technical projects of IEA. NFTRC benefited both in fellowships and scientific visits from IEA on the use of stable isotopes and nutrition. NFTRC has a capacity in using stable isotopes in the following areas: in body composition analysis, assessment of breast milk intake, assessment of vitamin A intake, and bioavailability of nutrients. NFTRC journey with the use of stable isotopes. In 2006, NFTRC conducted a study on the efficacy of vitamin A fortified sorghum meal in improving the immunostatus of HIV seropositive adults in Kenya. We used stable isotopes in order to assess body composition, and I will explain on the principle of body composition, on the principle of use of stable isotope in assessing body composition. I'll give a brief overview. And this study has a manuscript titled "The Efficacy of Micronutrients Fortified Sorghum Meal in Improving the Immunostatus of HIV positive adults." That has been published in 2013. And in 2009, we applied stable isotopes techniques to monitor and improve infant and young child nutrition intervention in AFRA studies. That is, Botswana participated in this AFRA studies, in this AFRA projects represented by NFTRC. Then in 2009, NFTRC conducted a pilot study on the assessment of the exclusivity of breastfeeding and its impact on the nutritional status of HIV-infected and uninfected lactating women in Botswana. So we use the stable isotopes, that is deuterium, in order to assess breast milk intake. I will also explain the principle of using deuterium in order to measure breast milk intake. And this study has a publication on a publication in South African Journal of Clinical Nutrition, the September 2015 issue, titled Application of the Deuterium Oxide Dose to Mother Technique to Determine the Exclusivity of Breastfeeding in Women in Kanye, Botswana. As I've already said, that NAVTEC has been appointed in RDC in 2011, and we also hosted a regional training course on the standard operating procedures for isotope dilution techniques in infant and young child nutrition status. In 2014, we used stable isotope techniques in order to monitor and assess the vitamin A status of children susceptible to infection. Then in 2016, we developed a national capacity for the evaluation of an iron supplementation program using stable isotope technique. Then in 2020, we embarked on a study that will assess iron bioavailability from Zabana fortified with different iron compounds in children aged 12 to 36 months in Botswana using stable isotopes. I will just give a brief background on stable isotopes. That stable isotopes are variants of chemical elements which differ in neutron number. And deuterium is one of the stable isotopes commonly used for body composition and even for breast milk intake assessment. So this diagram shows different isotopes which have different number of neutrons. Deuterium oxide, as I've said, that is one of the stable isotopes that are mostly used in that we mostly use at NAVTEC. Deuterium oxide is water labeled with 2 hydrogens. There is no radiation hazard associated with deuterium oxide. Deuterium oxide has been used in studies involving humans for over 50 years now. The principle of using stable isotope in assessing body composition, I will briefly explain the principle here. For instance, in the dilution principle, a known amount of tracer, that is a known amount of deuterium, is added to a volume of water of unknown size that is being ingested. Then the tracer is allowed to mix freely with the water and a sample is then taken. The concentration of the tracer in the sample is then measured and the size of the volume of water can be calculated. So the principle during deuterium dilution, before a known amount of deuterium is ingested, a baseline sample has to be taken. Here, a saliva sample is taken from the subject. Then from there, 30 grams or approximately 30 grams of deuterium is ingested. Then it's left to equilibrate for 3 to 4 hours. Then 2 doses are taken at 3 and 4 hours. Then the abundance is measured. Then total body water is calculated using hydration factors, which can calculate the fat-free mass. Then fat mass is calculated as body water minus fat-free mass. The principle, I've already explained the principle of body composition, of assessing body composition using deuterium. So, but you should note that participants should not eat or drink, and they should not undertake any physical activity during the sampling period. The assumption that is being used during the body composition assessment is that deuterium oxide is distributed only in body water. Then the deuterium oxide is equally distributed in all body water compartments, that is sweat, saliva, urine, and human milk. The rate of equilibration of deuterium oxide is rapid. Neither deuterium nor body water is lost during the equilibration time. What is the significance of body composition? One of the best indicators body composition is one of the best indicators for overall health. It enables sensible decision regarding nutrition and exercise program, because we will know how much fat you have or how much fat you don't have, or how much fat you have to gain or how much fat you have to lose. It's a helpful tool in the nutrition evaluation of nutritional status. Body composition also relates to the morbidity and the mortality. It's related to morbidity and mortality, yes. I will also briefly give an overview of assessing breast milk intake using stable isotope. During assessment of human milk intake and intake of water from other sources other than breast milk is based on two compartment model. That is the mother's total body water and the baby's total body water. The deuterium dose to mother technique. The mother consumes an accurately weighed dose of deuterium. Then the deuterium will mix with the mother's body water, and the baby consumes the deuterium in its mother's milk. So the baby is not given any dose of deuterium, because when you want to measure the exclusivity of breast milk, you only want to measure what the baby gets from the mother. Then the saliva is sampled from the mother and from the baby over 2 weeks. The assumption here is that the deuterium doses equilibrates rapidly and uniformly throughout the body water pool of the mother and the baby. The size of the body water pool in the mother is constant, while for the baby, the pool changes linearly with the time due to growth. All water, regardless of the route of exit, is labeled with deuterium in a proportion to deuterium in the body water pool. Deuterium leaves the system only as water, and water intake by the baby is only by ingestion. Why assess human milk intake? We want to evaluate the efficacy of counseling and education programs on infant feeding. We want to know exactly that when mothers are saying they're exclusively breastfeeding, are they really doing that? We want to evaluate community nutrition supplementation programs for pregnant and lactating women. We want to correlate breast milk intake with infant morbidity, development, and growth. Thank you.